Okay, today I'm gonna go over the Queen's Gambit opening, but first I want to solve the daily puzzle. Today is 3/16/2015, and here's the puzzle of the day. As we can see here, we have a very powerful attack on the king. It looks like the title of the daily puzzle is Mate in 3, so we have to find a forced mate in 3. So let's take a look. See, the queen to f5 looks strong because of the weakness of the h7 square. However, looks like this can be covered by the queen. Queen can move to e7 and guard this. So we need to find some forced win here. Taking here with the rook isn't going to do anything. Pushing doesn't look like it does much either. We can just take our queen with a check, and there's not much that we can do. Queen to g7 looks interesting. Go here, check. This is a forcing move. He's forced to take, and then if we play, we can just take back, and he's forced out, and look to h7 looks like a win. So all these squares are cut. This square is cut by the bishop. So the rook is here and cutting the square too. Let's try that. Okay, good. We solved the daily puzzle, and now I'm going to move on to the Queen's Gambit opening and explain some of that for you guys. Okay, so here we go into the meat of the Queen's Gambit. Starts out with 1 d4. And there's a few ways to play. Black can either play knight to f6, d5. Those are generally the two main moves. Today we're just going to look at d5, and this is where the Queen's Gambit part comes in, because you are gambiting off this pawn. You're going to play c4, and your opponent has the choice of either taking the pawn or not taking the pawn. So let's just look at what happens if he takes the pawn. Say he takes the gambit. This is called the Queen's Gambit accepted. He now takes the pawn, and black is up a pawn, obviously, but we have to ask, what did he give up by doing so? Well, he gave up the d5 square in this case, and we can just play e4 and attempt to win back the pawn. Usually most players here, a good match to play the Queen's Gambit accepted is to just play e6 and then try to fianchetto this bishop. And you can play solidly and just give back the pawn here. A lot of people play b5 to try to hold on to the pawn, but this doesn't work because we can always respond with a4, and once white tries to defend the pawn again, say for instance he plays c6, we can just capture, and then we can further weaken this pawn by playing b3. Something like this. And by using all these pawn moves to defend his c-pawn, he's going to lose some critical development, and he's going to really blow open his queen side here with no pieces developed. Let's say you just play the e6 here, you can just take when he recaptures, You're nicely developed. So let's go back a little bit. If you try to play something like bishop here, we can just take. In this case, knight c3 is a good move, hitting the bishop. He continues to try to hold on. We can eventually just play b3 and break everything down. It's going to be hard to hang on to this bishop. He can no longer take because he'll just be losing a minor piece. Like that. So when you start playing the Queen's Gambit or the Queen's Gambit, d5 is really the beginning, and c4 is how you signal that you're gambiting this pawn here. So let's run through a declined line. So here black isn't going to take. I see a lot of players play e6 here. c6 is also an option. A quick note is that if your opponent plays something like knight f6, this is just a mistake. He's going to lose tempo on this. So you can just capture with your c-pawn. If you capture the knight, then you can just play e4. And once he moves his knight, just continue developing. He lost a tempo here by bringing his knight out and capturing and moving it back. And if he captures the queen, then we're just going to play knight c3. Best move for black is usually queen to a5, and just kind of keep on building pressure here, attacking the queen. Should turn out quite well for you. So it's where black usually doesn't play those lines. Usually, we will play something like e6. And here we don't really want to be taking yet. The setup I suggest is to play knight c3 and look for the e4 push here. Maybe even queen c2. This annoying kind of bishop pin comes in. Usually stops the knight from defending the e4 square and it pins it to our king. But a helpful move we can still play is queen to c2, and that gives us the option of e4 again, because we really need this pawn out of the way so that our light square bishop can be developed. So let's play. So he plays here, knight f6, once again controlling the square. We'll just play a3. And if he wants to trade his bishop for our knight, we should be happy with that. You may not even want to double the pawn, because you might be able to just take with the queen, however you want to play. Okay, so that line was c4, b5, c4, which is the beginning of the gambit. He doesn't take. Maybe plays e6. Just knight c3 develop normally. If he pins it, queen to c2 is good. Always looking for this e4 push. I think that's all I have. Next time I'll have some example games of these lines so that you can see what I'm talking about and different ways to play.